Today we're going to be interviewing Chuck Schlabs of the Oklahoma Bigfoot Project. He's been a field investigator since 2015. I apologize for the sound in the background, but we are actually on location where it happened on an oil field site. You will see in the drone footage that there is an actual pumping unit making noise right behind us.
2015?
2015, November. It's about the first or second day of deer season.
Right. And you were out here working on location.
Yes.
And you were sitting in your truck, right?
Well, what happened was, as soon as I got here and I jumped out of the truck, every hair on my arm stood up.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh crap, something's not right. And the first thing that went through my mind was that it was the first or second day of deer season. I thought there's got to be a hunter out here and he's hunting. And I thought I need to kind of walk around the location a little bit and see if I can see this guy, or at least try to make sure that he sees me so I don't get shot.
So you thought there was a hunter?
That's exactly what I thought.
You wasn't wrong.
And so I looked around, I walked around the location and didn't see anything. And then I thought, man, I worked all night, and this was about probably 6:15, 6:30 in the morning.
Right.
And I thought, man, I must be really tired from working all night, because this is just really weird, because I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything. And so I jumped back up in the cab of the truck, and I was sitting there writing the invoice for the job.
Right.
And all of a sudden I see movement out of the corner of my eye as I'm writing this ticket, and I look up, and right where he's standing right there,
You can see Jeff up there.
that's about where he was at. And there's a, how do you think he was?
How tall do you think he was?
You know, it was hard to tell, because at the time, all this growth was not here at the time. All I could see...
Yeah, the foliage has definitely changed since...
Oh yeah, a lot.
And that was what, 8 years ago?
Yeah.
8 years ago. So it's gonna have changed a little bit.
There was a great big huge, well, not great big huge, there was a cottonwood tree up there that had died, and it was still standing there. The cottonwood tree was. And all around that cottonwood tree, there was some, it looked like, to me, it looked like red plums, sand plums.
Sand plums?
There were sand plum bushes all over through here. And that's where he was.
This area is famous for, I can see some over there.
Yeah, he was standing behind the tree. And the way I saw him, he was looking at me this way, and he was kind of bending over,
Doing the lean
and looking at me. And when I saw him, it was like he wasn't moving at all.
Yeah.
And I had my cell phone with me, and I picked up my cell phone and captured a couple pictures, and then I set my phone back down, and I sat there and watched him for probably a good 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and never saw any movement, never heard anything. And at that point I thought, man, I must be really tired, because now I'm getting delirious. Right. You know, that was my mindset at the time. And so after that happened, I went ahead and finished out the ticket and thought, you know, and I looked back over there, it was still there, still hadn't moved, nothing. I mean, it's like I was looking at a statue. And so I got back out of the truck and went over, got all my tools off the location,
right.
Pulled my hoses off the location, and I jumped back in the truck, and I started to drive around like this to leave, and I looked back over there where I'd seen this thing, and he was gone. Never saw him move, never heard anything, and I knew right then and there what I had seen. And
when you notice they're gone, that's a revelation.
Yeah.
A tree stump. You you think he was eating the sand plums? Well, no, sand plums wouldn't have been blooming then.
No, not that time of
Not
year.
that time of year, no. Huh.
But
So he was just watching you.
he was watching me.
Do you think there's any food sources available out here?
Oh, I think so. I think there's deer out here and possibly some wild hogs even.
I'm going to talk about a location. I mean, there's really nothing that you would think would attract a Sasquatch to an oil field location other than just pure curiosity.
But you know, there's a lot of people that are. I mean, I've heard a lot of reports of oil field sites, and for example, two guys that are on my team, they live out toward Elk City area,
Yeah.
and he does hot shots,
Yeah.
and he goes out there all times of night, times of day.
Being in
And
the woods.
They've seen them out there around oil field locations.
I just don't understand what the attraction would be.
Minerals.
Unless, well,
I
yeah.
think it's minerals. That's
Yeah.
what I think.
That's what I mean. Is there something here that they could?
Salt.
Is there salt around here?
Well, it's
I've heard of them stealing salt licks.
most of these sites have salt laying on the ground. It's actually soaked into the ground from
That's
people
true, huh?
hauling salt water or whatever. And there's probably some other minerals too that they're after. I think,
Yeah, who really knows?
but this is where my first sighting was, and this is what got me started on what I do. And
First thing in the morning, so the sun would have been about the same.
yep, it was probably a little bit earlier, but
Yeah.
I still had that much light right there where he was at.
Yeah, the sun would have been a little bit closer to the winter equinox.
Yep.
So.
So after we got done recording, we was putting up the drone and fixing to get ready to leave, and the current pumper pulled up onto location, and we was talking to him, and he flabbergasted all of us because I asked him if he'd ever had anything weird or unusual happen while he was out there at that location, and he said yes. He told us about how he had heard these banging noises and he had had rocks thrown at him while he was trying to gauge the tanks. And we were all just totally shocked. Anyway, he did take a moment. He was a very busy man, but he took a moment and told us the Cliff Notes version of what happened. But we thought that was so unusual that 7.5 years apart, this particular location has had oil field workers being watched or harassed while they were on location. Very interesting. Apparently, there is still activity going on. So what year did this was just 4 months ago?
4 or 5 months ago. Actually, it might have been longer than that because it was cold out still.
Oh, was it? Okay.
And, anyways, I was here about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Going up the top of the tank, gauge tank.
Right.
And something felt weird, like literally the hair on my arm stood up.
Right.
And I didn't think much of it. And all of a sudden I heard a thunk in the trees.
Uh-huh.
It literally sounded just like right there.
Right.
But like I said, I really didn't think much of it, and heard it again, but it was a little louder this time. And so I come down the stairs, kind of Still not really thinking much of it, but a little bit kind of freaked out too at the same time, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm coming down the stairs trying to just hurry up and get done and get the hell out of here. About that time, I'm running through here, and all I had was a little headlamp on though, so I can't see nothing. But I seen rocks, like I couldn't see them, but I could like feel them and hit beside me.
Yeah.
Laying on the ground, hit
Like
the
these
tank.
type of little.
Yeah, nothing big.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like anything threatening, but it felt like something telling me to get the hell out of here. So that's kind of what it did.
And it worked.
Yeah, it worked. But
Wow.
I didn't see nothing though. Like it just had a weird feeling. And
Yeah. Well, there's only two types of creatures that can throw things. Wow.
Yep.
Well, that's interesting. I appreciate you sharing your story. I know you didn't see anything, but
yeah.
hey, it kind of validates the work that we're out here doing anyway.
Right.
And if you hear of anything, give us a call.
Gotcha.